If you stick around till the end of this video, I promise you that I will be sharing with you 5 tips or 5 ways by which you can reduce overheating in your camera, or to the best extent eradicate or eliminate overheating completely from your camera. So if this is something that you are into, then sit down, relax, let's figure this out. Hello guys, and welcome to this channel. On this channel, we take the big Hollywood ideas and we transpose them into smaller ideas so that you, the indie filmmaker out there, can implement in your works. If this is your first time on this channel, we do photography, videography, and all its related branches. So if you're new here, I'll much appreciate it if you click on the subscribe button and hit on the notification icon so that you get notified anytime we drop awesome content like this on this African-based channel. Without much ado, let's get right into the video. So the first way by which you can reduce overheating in your camera is by choosing your locations wisely. Yes guys, this is very true, especially when it comes to some of the very latest mirrorless cameras out there. Now, most people have described the new Sony a7S III as unhittable and a beast of a camera. I do agree, but some guy actually got this camera to actually overheat. But don't get me wrong, the kind of overheating that happened within that particular camera is not as worse as, or it's not like what you find in the Canon R6 or the Canon R5. Now, how this one works is that when you subject it to direct heat, let's say sunlight or from a direct heat source, that is when it gets affected and the camera might overheat. So choose your locations very wisely. Make sure that wherever you are shooting, there is enough shade to prevent your camera from direct heat. Now, I know most of you might want to shoot in the desert, in other areas. That way, those are exceptional circumstances. So just relax for the next point. Now, the next way you can reduce overheating in your camera is by opening your battery compartment. Yes guys, the battery inside there traps a lot of heat, and so opening the battery compartment will help the heat dissipate and thereby allowing you to capture more time or to squeeze more time out of your camera so that you'll be able to capture that amazing shot. Now guys, the next point is to endeavor to use your viewfinder. Guys, I know this might be limited to certain cameras, but if your camera has a viewfinder, endeavor to use it, because the LCD demands a lot of power in order to be able to show you the images or the visuals that you see on the LCD. And so that also contributes drastically to the level of demand, or it demands a lot from your battery to produce those images on the LCD, thereby pushing it to the level where it certainly will overheat. So if you have the option, or your camera offers you the ability to be able to use your viewfinder, then kindly just close the LCD and use the viewfinder, and trust me, that is going to be squeezing, or that is going to be giving you a little bit of room to be able to record for longer hours without the camera overheating. Now guys, the next point is kind of related to the previous one, that is by reducing the brightness of your LCD. The brighter your LCD is, the more it consumes power from your battery, or the more it demands power from your battery, and that in turn increases the rate at which your camera is likely to heat up. But there is a caveat to this guys. You need to really be very careful, especially if you are not capturing in RAW, or if you are capturing in Atmos 8-bit image. You need to be very careful, because reducing the brightness of your LCD could mean that you might end up with a wrong exposure, and that could be a recipe for disaster. So be very careful if you choose to reduce the brightness of your LCD, especially if you are not using the waveforms, or you are not using histogram and you are just eyeballing it. Be very careful with that guys, so that you don't become a victim. The next point is to pull off the LCD from the camera body. Guys, especially the Sony Alpha series is the #1 culprit when it comes to these kind of overheatings. So if it is a swivel screen, endeavor to pull it away from the camera body, just to give a little bit of chance for the heat to dissipate within the camera body instead of being trapped inside the camera body. And trust me, that is going to be giving you a little bit of room in order to be able to capture those amazing shots guys. Now guys, that's all the points, but before we go, I have 2 very bonus yet important tips for you. Now, the first bonus point I have for you is that use dummy batteries. The battery constitutes about 70% of the reason why your camera might heat up. Now, because of the lithium-ion components within your battery trapped in that kind of a modular body, it's much more likely to overheat because of the demands of the camera, especially when you're capturing at 4K, or when the camera is capturing at its full potential. It's demanding a lot from this battery, and it ends up overheating. So using a dummy battery would help alleviate this, and trust me, in certain cases or in certain cameras, using a dummy battery could mean that completely eradicating overheating from your camera. Trust me guys, using a dummy battery means that your camera doesn't have to rely on the lithium-ion components within that small battery that has been placed inside your camera. So it could go hours and hours and hours without ever overheating. However, this presents us with another whole new challenge, because I know it is not all of us who have the luxury of shooting within studio settings, and you might want to shoot in the bush or shoot somewhere that you don't have access to electricity. In that case, I suggest you have extra batteries. And the secret here is, do not wait for the battery to run out completely before you change it. Just pause within takes to put in a new battery into the camera, and trust me, you are going to be squeezing a little bit much more time to be able to capture that awesome shot. Now, to our very final point, but one of the most important ways by which you can completely eradicate overheating from your camera, it's by using an external recorder. Guys, this is also so important, because your memory card or your storage device also accommodates 40% of the blame to the reason why your camera might overheat, especially if it is not a high-speed card. Your camera has to work really hard in order to be able to store those digital signals on those kind of memory cards. So using an external recorder takes off that burden of recording the data or transcoding the data and saving it on the memory card to just only displaying images on your external monitor, and the external monitor handles the rest of the recording, thereby taking those responsibilities completely off from your camera. And trust me, this can let your camera go hours and hours without ever overheating again. And again, guys, the other alternative to this is, if you don't have an external monitor, what I suggest is also have extra cards, and make sure that all your cards are high-speed cards, and make sure to always have extra, and do not wait for these memory cards to fill up before you put in the new one or before you change. Just endeavor to change memory cards in between takes, just to prevent the camera from overheating. That is all for this video, guys. I really hope you got a ton of information out of this video. Kindly click on the like button so that a lot of people can get to see this video on YouTube. Thank you so much for your feedback so far on this channel. I really appreciate your support. And for those of you watching without subscribing, I plead with you to kindly click on the subscribe button, because it goes a long way in helping us make such awesome content on this channel. Thank you so much for clicking on the subscribe button. And oh guys, before you leave, I bought this microphone off from Jumia through a Black Friday deal, a very cool deal. In fact, a really irresistible deal, and I had to buy this. Kindly let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, how the audio from this microphone sound. Of course, as always, you know how I take audio serious, and I am going to obviously EQ the voice just to add much more power to this microphone. Let me know your thoughts, whether we should maintain this microphone or we should go back to the Africa Amaze microphone, or the microphone that we actually invented right here in the Africa Amaze studio. And if you haven't seen any video where this microphone is being used, kindly just click here to see that particular microphone in action, and tell me whether we should go by this or we should go by that particular microphone. Thank you so much for watching, and I would catch you in the next one. Keep practicing filmmaking. Peace out.